I have such a sinus headache though.
Uh-huh.
Advil sinus,
Yes.
not the over-the-counter. Can I mix?
Oh, yeah.
Please tell me yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I recommend you drink as much water as you drink wine or your headache's just going to get worse.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. Is ice water okay to start?
I swear it'd be fabulous. I think everybody just wants it to. It's really just about if anyone were ever to ask them, well, what do you do for this $60? How can you justify that? Or are you basically just doing something completely egregious that you should be getting for free? At the end of the day, they're a nonprofit. They just don't want to. They want to break even, and if they can do a little better than break even and do so in a way that seems reasonable, they're happy to do that. But really, their bottom line is they don't want to. They want to break even. Every penny they save is just pennies they give to another patient.
Exactly.
To provide a service that patient
Because
can
of
get
the loss.
otherwise. They have a corner of the lab, and they set up and they come in with all their coolers and they handle all the tissue and everything. But they're basically taking up space. So I'm sure the affiliate considers that when they come up with those reasonable. But I don't think anybody's going to come up with a crazy number because they're all very sensitive to this too. And at the end of the day, they want to offer the service because patients ask about it. But I think every one of them is happy to know that there's a possibility for them to do this extra bit of good in what they do. And I think the patients respond most to knowing the types of outcomes that it might contribute to. So for example, they see Parkinson's research, Alzheimer's research, things like that. I think most of these patients have some experience with one of these conditions or another. I think the ones that come in asking have already had the experience, which is why they come in asking. But I actually think it's an easier conversation to have than just consenting them for the procedure in general. Because at this point, I think it's more important when you have the conversation. And I think a lot of people feel very strongly that the conversation shouldn't be had until after they've made their decision to terminate, they know how far along they are, they know what's going to happen, and then when all of that is said and done, and they've had time to kind of let that sink in, then to basically say, now this is how we normally handle the tissue, but if you would be interested, there's another opportunity to contribute to research, contribute to science, donate your tissue. Most patients, like I said, are very, very motivated. I haven't really seen very many patients that say no. I was in the OR yesterday, and we had, I'd say, 18 patients. Probably half of them were either got digoxin or were under 18, and the rest of them all donated their tissue. So I don't think it's a difficult conversation to have because I think the difficult stuff has already happened. They're kind of prepped for this, and if anything, this is almost a pleasant surprise in a way.
Yes.
You've been through the tough stuff. You made this difficult decision. Now there's one more opportunity for you, to think about, and I think they appreciate it. There's always concerns too about kind of coercion, so you always want to make sure that they've made their decision to actually have the procedure, and then before you start adding on other things. Anytime we do any research, and Planned Parenthood has very strict protocols around if we're doing a research study in general, when the different points of the consent happen. This doesn't really fall into the research bucket because it's not a specific protocol, it's not a specific project, so they're not consented for a specific protocol, it doesn't go to an IRB. But yet, there's certain principles we still think is most ethical to follow. And that is really, as I mentioned, to just, to make sure that they've made their decision, they're comfortable with their decision, and then to say, okay, well now that you've passed that point in the process, there's one other opportunity we wanted to let you know.
Yeah.
Ideally, you shouldn't do the procedure in any other way. You should always do the procedure the same. And that's what the providers try to do. They're not going to treat these patients any differently than they would any other patient. Just the disposition of the tissue at the end of the case is different. For example, what I'm dealing with now is if I know what they're looking for, I'll just keep them in the back of my mind and try to at least keep that part intact. But I generally don't do extra dilation. We won't put another single laminar or add an extra day. That's going to add a significant cost of expense to everybody. I mean, basically, if you need to seminarian, you should come back another day if you provide procedures in enough days in a row that you can do that. That's a whole other consideration. And in general, I'd say most people, unless there's a specific research protocol that's been IRB approved, try to avoid that. Some anti-choice groups got the names and the addresses of the board of directors of the companies and started picketing their houses and making them uncomfortable because they were picking up tissue. They started
Sorry about that.
at the houses of the board of directors of a company, a waste management company, basically, that just handles biological waste. And they just don't have the money to spend. And I think they'd rather just spend it taking care of patients.
Yeah.
Which is the right way to spend it.
Yeah.
We have 40% of the market in the whole country.
40%.
40%.
Wow.
Not that we're trying to, we just do. I mean, we're looking now, moving forward, as access is getting harder and laws are changing, to figure out how we can partner to just make sure everybody has access and
Right.
less. But the way it turns out, if you look at it today, we have 40%, so we're the largest provider, and we're the target.
A little more wine, can we split it between the two of you?
Well, you just pour out what's in the bottle, and if we drink it, we drink it, and if we don't, we don't.
Yeah.
I can throw it away. It'll evaporate. I'm very practical.
It's good. It's a good way to live.
But because of that, we're the target. And because we're the target, we're not looking to make money from doing
Right.
this. Our goal is to keep access available. And if we do something that makes us a target and that just removes access for
To
everybody.
be sustainable.
Something,
Right.
This is not any revenue stream that affiliates
Right.
are looking at. This is a way to offer patients a service that they want, do good for the medical community,
Right.
and still maintain access at the end of the day.
Right.
To frame this too, and maybe you guys can think about this. It's all about framing.
To frame it for affiliate, I mean publicly. To frame
Yes,
it
to
publicly,
frame
yeah.
this publicly.
That's the $1,000,000 question.
To get
So you
the
were about
most.
to say something. So
Yeah, I'm trying to, because right now we're in a position where, yes, our patients ask about this and they feel that this is important and they feel that they're doing a good thing. But there are a lot of people who think that what we're all doing is bad and they don't want it to happen at all. And, is there a way to continue to frame this? Are there things that we can spotlight the benefits? Because if we can reframe the conversation, it's just a win-win for everybody. More patients will want to do it. More affiliates will want to partner with you. And maybe some of the people who are trying to shut it down on every level will not. You do have to be a little daring. But I do think that we can figure out a way to talk about this. Look, we kind of come up with the statistics. 4 in 10 women have had an abortion in their lifetime. By the time they're 45, 1 woman in 4 has had an abortion. Everybody knows somebody who's done this. And you want to know something else? Even more than that, I will say, is everybody knows somebody who can benefit from stem cell research.
Yep.
And so we just need to kind of collectively just figure out what the talking points are. But I know that we all want to be strong partners in this for sure.